Hey guys, my name is Shirazi, and like Thomas, I'm going to present on the air conditioner experiment as a lead. So the objectives of this experiment is to understand thermodynamic analysis of the air conditioner and the refrigeration cycle in general, and to understand how different levels of our working fluid, in this case Freon, affects the air conditioner's performance. So what we're working with is basically a heat pump and an evaporator condenser. It's all part of the system. We'll be using Freon and a Freon storage tank as our working fluid, and for measurements we're using a psychrometer and anemometer. Psychrometer to measure the relative humidity, and the anemometer to measure the wind speed coming in and out. So this is our overall apparatus I'll be working with. Like Thomas said, we have the reservoir where we'll be putting in Freon, and I have another diagram that kind of shows the refrigeration cycle in general, but this follows the basic cycle with the condenser going through the calculations and into the evaporator. So the procedure for this particular experiment will be to add the maximum amount of Freon into the unit to start off with. We'll measure the air velocity with the anemometer, and we'll be able to measure the wet bulb and dry bulb temperatures with the psychrometer. And then of course we're going to have to record the pressures and temperatures, and we'll repeat this step, but we'll be reducing the Freon levels each time for each run. So I ran a few numbers. We assume that our evaporator will be at 500 kPa, our condenser will be at 1200 kPa. And to calculate the COP, you take the energy it takes to heat or cool, you divide it by the power consumed by the system. And I got something similar to Thomas, 7.7 for our COP. Then I ran a Carnot equation and found it to be 10.12. I found this in the thermodynamics book. I decided to just do that math. So this is the theory behind it all. The refrigeration cycle. Start off with the working fluid going through a compressor, and you get hot air going out in the condenser, and this is the actual cooling part. It goes to the evaporator, and you have an expansion valve that actually changes the pressure at that point. This is the ideal TS diagram, and it's just the reverse of the ideal engine. You start off on the saturated vapor side, and you go up and you work your way into the saturated vapor side. And then for the ideal pH diagram, same thing. You have work going in on the far right, and you have an exit of hot air and take in cold air. And I found this actual pH diagram, which is a lot more complicated, but you can actually see the overall cycle in there. And so overall my calculations seem correct, and be sure to print out and read the manual for the actual experiment. All right, any questions?